Have you thought about a place for real, original, and unorthodox broadcast content? Where creativity is served with value and purpose. Do you care about the Tiwantiwa with all the razzmatazz of traditional content in a cosmopolitan environment? Oh, wow. I know what you're thinking. It's definitely Adami Mogo 93.1 FM, Lekki, Lagos.
A suspected bank robber leading officers.
The presidential
News is always on the go, and we get the stories firsthand as they happen, where they happen. We bring the information to you undiluted, verified, accurate, balanced, and without bias. Told from the human angle perspective. We interview the actors and the experts. All facts laid bare. From Nigeria to the rest of the globe, we deliver the news on time and in time. This is News Express on Adami Mogo 93.1 FM. Lekki, Lagos.
A News Express this evening. Senate considers 1.7 trillion naira FCT budget, confirms appointment of 5 resident commissioners for INEC. Reps calls for mandatory immunization against diphtheria nationwide. JAMB admits to error in 2025 UTME, reshadows examination for affected candidates. Good evening and welcome to News Express on Adami Mogo 93.1 FM Lagos, a blend of national, local, political, international, sports and entertainment news. I am Oge Mark. And now the news in detail. We begin from the FCT, where President Bola Tinubu has written to the Senate to approve a proposed 1.783 trillion naira statutory appropriation bill for the FCT for the 2025 financial year. President Tinubu urged the Senate to give the bill expedited consideration, noting that its passage was critical to ensuring an effective and service-oriented administration for residents of the FCT.
Correspondence from Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, the distinguished Senate President, 2025 statutory budget proposal for the Federal Capital Territory, pursuant to Section 299 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999, as amended, which vests legislative powers over the Federal Capital Territory on the National Assembly. I hereby present the 2025 FCT budget proposal to the Senate for consideration. Bill being read a second time. Those in support that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Responding to the request, the Senate invoked Order 78 to allow the bill to scale second reading the same day it was introduced. Meanwhile, the Senate has confirmed the appointment of 5 resident electoral commissioners submitted by President Bola Tinubu for the Independent National Electoral Commission. The approved recs are Umaru Yusuf Garuba from Kano State, Said Umaru Idris from Bauchi State, Chukwuemeka Ibiziako from Anambra State, Umaru Mukhtar from Borno State, and Johnson Lalibo Sinikem from Bayelsa State. And now turning away from the Red Chambers, the House of Representatives has directed the Federal Ministry of Health, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, and the National Healthcare Development Agency to enforce the mandatory diphtheria immunization, testing and treatment across healthcare centers across the country. The resolution of the House followed the adoption of a motion moved at plenary by Kwamoti Lowry, who explained that diphtheria has become a critical public health issue since the first outbreak in Borno State in 2011, which claimed 21 lives. Lowry stressed that the outbreak's current resurgence poses significant threats to Nigeria's already overburdened public health system. He expressed worry that if nothing is done, the high fatality rate could worsen and spread outside of the states already impacted. And now turning to educational matters, the federal government has set up a high-level committee to streamline and standardize fee payment processes across the country's tertiary institutions. Minister of Education Tunji Alausa disclosed these after a closed-door meeting with vice-chancellors of universities and NEL Fund management. He said the move is aimed at improving the financial operations between Nigerian universities and the Nigerian Education Loan Fund. Alausa emphasized that while universities have been receiving funds on time, there is need to improve the timelines and processes involved in the disbursement and notification systems. He explained that there was no fraud in NEL Fund as speculated by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission. Meanwhile, the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board has admitted to errors which affected the performance of students during the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. The registrar of the board, Professor Ishak Oloyede, admitted this during a press briefing in Abuja, noting that the board will reschedule 379,997 candidates affected by the technical glitches in the 5 states of the Southeast and Lagos to retake the UTME. There was an uproar after over 75% of all candidates, about 1.5 million, scored below 200 average score, seeing as examination is graded over 400. He said the affected candidates will start getting text messages from the board starting tomorrow. The Nigerian Safety Investigative Bureau has refuted the report by the United States National Transportation Safety Board blaming the pilot for the ill-fated helicopter crash that claimed the life of the former Group Chief Executive Officer of Access Holdings plc, Herbert Muigwe, alongside his wife, son and 3 others. The NC Director of Public Affairs and Family Assistance, Bimbo Oladiji, in a statement, insisted that the captain alone should not be blamed for the unfortunate incident. Rather, the system that should have mitigated the situation. The NTSB, in its final report, had cited pilot disorientation and a violation of flight protocols, especially the decision to proceed under visual flight rules and instrument meteorological conditions as key causes of the crash. While countering the NTSB report, the NC also debunked claims that it jointly investigated the matter with the American Transport Board, adding that it was only updated with the process. The National Identity Management Commission (NIMC) has affirmed that despite a recent adjustment in its service pricing framework, the National Identification Number enrollment remains free for all citizens and legal residents. Director General of NIMC, Abisoye Koka Odishete, disclosed this while highlighting significant improvement in infrastructure expansion and system integration, stating that the cost for data modifications have been increased while verification fees have been lowered to reflect current economic realities. The NIMC chief also announced the Commission's landmark milestone of 120.4 million enrollment for the National Identification Number and the efforts in reducing corruption up to 40% within the Commission's operations. And now Now turning to the metropolis, the Lagos State Ministry of Environment and Water Resources has confirmed the arrest of 23 miscreants at the Oshodi Bus Terminal 3. The Commissioner Tokumbo Wahab disclosed this on a post on X, stating that the operation was carried out by operatives of the Lagos State Environmental Sanitation Corps in the early hours of today. He stated that the suspects will be prosecuted in line with the relevant laws of the state. And now turning to internal affairs, Adami Mogu Communications has announced the appointment of its head of presentation English unit, Ayo Adekeye, as head of news, and its head of Yoruba presentation, Oluyemi Oyeniran, as head of programs. In a statement by the administrative manager, Olufemi Aluko, Kehinde Jigbo Adeleke was appointed assistant head of programs, while Olushola Morris Green was appointed head of social media unit.
But I would like to appreciate the management for trusting us with this opportunity to serve and to give our best to the organization. That's just what it is. It is an opportunity to give our best to the organization. So I believe that myself and my colleague would take this opportunity to increase our input and collaborate more with our co-workers just to make sure that the organization runs smoothly and we achieve our dreams and aspiration as an organization.
The Chief Operating Officer of Adami Mogu Communications, Babatunde Bamigboye Omoedema, stated that the appointments are effective immediately. He added that these promotions reflect the company's commitment to empowering its staff and recognizing their leadership potential. Big congratulations to the recipients. Coming up on News Express and Sport, Carlos Alcaraz secures the Italian Open semi-final spot. On entertainment, Lagos to host 2025 edition of Afrima. To stay tuned.
You can listen to Adami Mogo 93.1 FM from any part of the world. Download the Adami Mogo 931 FM app from Google Play Store and Radio Garden. And follow us on Adami Mogo 93.1 FM on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you have eyewitness stories, clips exclusive to share, contact the Adami Mogo FM newsroom via mail at newsroom@adamimogofm.com. Or you can dial 070-634-03583. You can dial 090-319-69629. Adami Mogo 93.1 FM Lagos, voice of the light.
Glad to see there now to the rest of the news. On Global Express, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said he would agree to meet Kremlin leader Vladimir Putin in Turkey tomorrow after U.S. President Donald Trump told him immediately to accept Putin's proposal of direct talks. The Ukrainian leader had responded guardedly earlier on Sunday after the Russian president in a nighttime televised statement stated that coincided with prime time in the U.S., proposed that Ukraine and Russia a nighttime televised statement, coincided with prime time in the U.S., proposed that Ukraine and Russia hold direct talks in Istanbul next Thursday, May 15th. In a post on X, Zelensky said he would be waiting for Putin in Turkey tomorrow, hoping that Russia will not look for excuses this time. Putin's proposal came hours after major European powers demanded on Saturday in Kyiv that Putin agrees to an unconditional 30-day ceasefire or face massive new sanctions, a position that Trump Ukraine envoy Keith Kilgog endorsed on Sunday. And now, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney has criticized Britain's invitation to Donald Trump for a second state visit, saying it undermined its government's effort to protect the united front against the U.S. president's talk of annexing Canada. Since taking office in January, Trump has repeatedly said he wants Canada to become the 51st U.S. state, a suggestion that has angered Canadians and left Britain trying to tread a fine line between the two North American countries. Britain's King Charles is also head of state of Canada, a former British colony, and the monarch has made a number of symbolic gestures in recent months, wearing Canadian medals, planting a maple tree, and referring to himself as the King of Canada. Charles, who is still undergoing cancer treatment, is also due to attend Canada's state opening of Parliament on May 27th, the first time a British monarch has attended the event in Ottawa since 1977. And on Sports Express, Nationwide League One NLO has sanctioned Senegal FC of Ebony State for failing to provide sufficient evidence to validate its allegation of improper conduct against Liberty Lions FC. Senegal FC had alleged that two Calabar-based teams, E-World United and Liberty Lions FC, manipulated the last fixture to favor E-World United, who eventually won the 3-1 to pick the sole playoff ticket. In their ruling, the management of the NLO dismissed the complaint and suspended the chairman Senegal FC indefinitely for a period of 6 months from all NLO-related events for raising false allegations without substantial evidence. The club was also fined 500,000 naira for raising a false alarm that could destroy the image of the country, Nigerian Football Federation, and the Nationwide League One. And still on sport, third seed Carlos Alcaraz strode into the semi-finals of the Italian Open after putting in a powerful display to down Jack Draper in straight sets 6-4, 6-4. His impressive win over Draper kept alive his chances of a third title of the season and also moved him up to number 2 in the world ranking behind Jannik Sinner. Earlier, Coco Gauff marched into the women's semis by beating Mira Andreeva in straight set of 6-4, 7-6, 7-5. Third seed Alcaraz will face one of reigning Rome champion Alexander Zverev and home hope Lorenzo Musetti. The days in final pairing on center court in the last four at the Foro Italico. American Golf has guaranteed herself number 2 in the women's world ranking with her solid display in Rome, where she saw off 7th seed Andreeva on center court. And on entertainment, Lagos has been selected as the host city for the 2025 edition of the All African Music Award, AFRIMA, in collaboration with the African Union. Scheduled to take place from November 25th to 30th, 2025, the award ceremony will include various side events, notably the vibrant Music Village Festival. The head of culture at the African Union, Angela Martins, who made the announcement, highlighted this year's theme as Unstoppable Africa and the choice of Lagos as the event host city, calling it a reflection of the city's dynamic culture and its representation of modern African music. The AFRIMA 2025 calendar will begin with a call for entries on May 20th, inviting submissions from artists across Africa and its diaspora. Artists can enter works in various categories and genres, celebrating the excellence of African music in line with the AU's Agenda 2063, which emphasizes culture as a key driver of Africa's development. And still on entertainment, American singer and actress Halle Bailey has been granted a domestic violence restraining order against her ex-boyfriend, rapper Daryl Dwayne Granberry Jr., professionally known as DDG. The judge restrained DDG to remain 100 yards away from Bailey and prohibited him from discussing her or their child publicly. The court also granted the actress the permission to travel with their son to Italy, where she will be filming for 2 months. The Little Mermaid actress in a court document had alleged that a confrontation with DDG turned violent when he came to pick up their 18-month-old son, Hallo, in January, which she claimed escalated into violence when she tried to discuss a visitation schedule with him. As we conclude News Express on our Dami Mogo 93.1 FM this evening, here is a recap of the biggest stories. We told you that President Bola Tinubu wrote to the Senate to approve a proposed 1.783 trillion naira statutory appropriation bill for the FCT for the 2025 financial year. And also the Senate has also confirmed the appointment of 5 resident electoral commissioners names submitted by President Bola Tinubu for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. It is also in the news that the House of Representatives directed the Federal Ministry of Health, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, and the National Healthcare Development Agency to enforce the mandatory diphtheria immunization, testing, and treatment across healthcare centers across the country. We also told you that the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board has admitted to errors which affected the performance of students during the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination and scheduled a re-examination. And that's News Express on behalf of the production team. I am Ogboi Mark. Good evening.
àsìkò ìròyìn ti tó bóyá ẹ jẹ́ ká jọgbọ́n lónílé lálejò bóyá lọ́mọdé lágbà ó ẹ mú kalẹ̀ owó ẹ mú kalẹ̀ ọmọ ìròyìn tó jẹ́ ojúlówó rédíò yìí lẹ ti máa gbọ́ 93.1 FM ìkànnì tó tayọ Lẹ́kì la máa fi kalẹ̀ sí nígboro Èkó Àdámímọ́gò FM bóyá.
wá pé a kú dédé àsìkò yìí àsìkò iṣẹ́ látàárọ̀ àkótán ìròyìn ló ń dé sétí gbọ́yìn láti kàn ní Adámimógo 93.1 FM Olúyẹmí Oyèníran lórúkọ tí mò ń jẹ́ ṣáájú ẹgbọ́ kókó inú ìròyìn náà. Tinubu ń fẹ́ kí wọ́n buwọ́ lu owó kan tó lé ní tírílíọ̀nù kan náírà èyí tó jẹ́ àbá ètò ìṣúná fún olúùlú lẹwa Àbújá fún bí ilé ìgbìmọ̀ asòfin àgbà bí wọ́n ṣe buwọ́ lu ìyànsípò àwọn kọmíṣánná àjọ INEC 5 míì. Ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣojúṣòfin ilẹ̀ yìí ní a ti pè fún lílọ rè mọ́ fún àwọn èèyàn ní abẹ́rẹ́ àjẹsára láti dènà àìsàn ọ̀nà ọ̀fun yíká ilẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà. Àjọ jambu ní láwọn ti gbà ọ wípé àwọn àṣìṣe kan wáyé nínú ìdánwò UTME eléyìí tó wáyé lọ́dún yìí tí wọ́n sì tún ní àwọn ó kéde ọjọ́ míì tí wọ́n máa ṣe ìdánwò ọ̀hún fún àwọn tí wọ́n fi ara gbá. Ìròyìn rèé lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ ààrẹ Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu ló ti kọ̀wé sílé ìgbìmọ̀ asòfin àgbà pé kí wọ́n dákun dábọ̀ kí wọ́n buwọ́ lu owó kan tó lé ní tírílíọ̀nù kan náírà eléyìí tí ó jẹ́ owó tí wọ́n yà sọ́tọ̀ fún olúùlú lẹwa Àbújá nínú àbá ètò ìṣúná ọdún yìí. Ààrẹ Tinubu ló rọ ilé ìgbìmọ̀ asòfin àgbà wípé kí wọ́n dákun dábọ̀ tètè buwọ́lu owó ọ̀hún ní kíákíá tó sì ní bíbuwọ́lù ní kíákíá ni ó jẹ́ kí wọ́n rí dájú pé wọ́n ṣe àwọn nǹkan tó yẹ sí olúùlú lẹwa Àbújá o kí àwọn olùgbé ń bẹ̀ kí wọ́n lè mọ̀ jẹ́ mọ̀dọ̀mọ́dún ìṣèjọba àwa ara wa. Nígbà tí wọ́n ń dáhùn sí ìbéèrè ààrẹ yìí, ilé ìgbìmọ̀ asòfin àgbà ni wọ́n lo abala òfin lẹwa ìkejì-dín-ní-ọgọ́rin láti lè jẹ́ kí wọ́n ka kínní ọ̀hún fún ìgbà méjì ní ọjọ́ tí wọ́n ṣàfihàn rẹ̀ fún ilé ẹ̀wẹ̀. Ilé-ìgbìmọ̀ asòfin àgbà ni wọ́n ti fòǹtẹ̀jọ ìyànsípò àwọn kọmíṣánná àjọ elétò ìdìbò eléyìí tí ààrẹ Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu tó taari orúkọ wọn sí ilé-ìgbìmọ̀ asòfin àgbà fún àjọ elétò ìdìbò lẹ́wà. Àwọn tí wọ́n fòǹtẹ̀jọ orúkọ wọn láti rí Umar Yusuf Garba láti ìpínlẹ̀ Kano, Sahad Umar Idris láti ìpínlẹ̀ Bauchi, Chukwuemeka Ibeziako láti ìpínlẹ̀ Anambra, Umar Mukhtar láti ìpínlẹ̀ Borno àti Johnson Alalibo Silnikiem láti ìpínlẹ̀ Bayelsa. Ilé-ìgbìmọ̀ aṣojú-ṣòfin ilẹ̀ yìí ló ti pàṣẹ fún iléeṣẹ́ ìjọba àpapọ̀ tí ń rí sọ́rọ̀ ètò ìlera àti àjọ tí ń gbógun ti ìtànkálẹ̀ àìsàn tó fi mọ́ iléeṣẹ́ tí ń rí sọ́rọ̀ dàgbàsókè ètò ìlera nílẹ̀ yìí pé kí wọ́n kàn pa fún gbogbo èèyàn yíká orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà láti gba abẹ́rẹ́ àjẹsára tí ó mọ̀ dènà àìsàn ọ̀nà ọ̀fun. Bẹ́ẹ̀ kí wọ́n mọ̀ ṣe àyẹ̀wò àti ìtọ́jú àwọn tó bá láìsàn ọ̀hún yíká àwọn ilé ìwòsàn gbogbo tí ń bẹ lórílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà. Ìfẹnukò ilé-ìgbìmọ̀ aṣojú-ṣòfin yìí ní ń tẹ̀lé bí wọ́n ṣe gba àbá kan eléyìí tí Kwamoti Lauri tí ó gbélẹ̀ níbi ìjókòó tó wáyé o. Ẹni tó ṣàlàyé rẹ̀ wípé àìsàn ọ̀nà ọ̀fun òun ni ó ti ń ṣàkóbá fún ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà látìgbà tó ti bú jáde nípínlẹ̀ Borno lọ́dún 2011 fún bó ti ṣe gbẹ̀mí èèyàn 21. Lauri tẹpẹlẹmọ wípé ìbújáde àìsàn ọ̀hún òun ni ó tún padà wáyé o tó sì ti ń dúnkokò mọ́ ètò ìlera àwọn ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà báyìí. Ó wáá fi àìdùnnú rẹ̀ hàn wípé tí wọn ò bá tètè gbé ìgbésẹ̀ kí á mọ́sá láti dábọ̀ àìsàn ọ̀hún àjẹ́ pé níṣẹ́ ni ó kàn mọ́ tàn yò káàkiri àwọn ìpínlẹ̀ tí ń bẹ lórílẹ̀-èdè yìí. Ìjọba àpapọ̀ lẹwa Nàìjíríà ni wọ́n ti gbé ìgbìmọ̀ alágbára kan kalẹ̀ tí yóò mójútó bí wọ́n ó ṣe má dínkù bá àti bí ìdúró rẹ̀ ó ṣe bá iye owó tí wọ́n ń san yíká àwọn ilé ẹ̀kọ́ gíga yíká orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà. Mínísítà fẹ́tò ẹ̀kọ́ Túnjí Aláùsá ló fọ̀rọ̀ ìlédè lẹ́yìn ìpàdé àtìlẹ́kùnmọ́ríṣe kan pẹ̀lú àwọn ọ̀gá àgbà láwọn fásitì ilẹ̀ yìí àti ìgbìmọ̀ tí ń rí sí ọ̀rọ̀ owó fún àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́. Ó ní ìgbésẹ̀ yìí ni àfojúsùn rẹ̀ jẹ́ mímú ìrúgọ́gọ́ bá ìlànà ìnáwó láàrin àwọn fásitì ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà àti ẹ̀ka tí ń rí sọ̀rọ̀ owó yá fún àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́. Aláùsá tẹpẹlẹmọ wípé nígbà tí àwọn fásitì ọ̀hún tí wọ́n mọ̀ gba owó wọn ní ojú ọjọ́, ó ní ó yẹ kí ìrúgọ́gọ́ àti ìdàgbàsókè kó dé bá ìlànà àti ìgbà tí owó ọ̀hún yóò mọ̀ jẹ́ pínpín kí àlékún lè dé bá ìṣọwọ́ ṣiṣẹ́ àwọn fásitì ilẹ̀ yìí. Ó ṣàlàyé wípé kò sí ọ̀rọ̀ ìwà jẹgúdújẹrá ní ẹ̀ka tí ń rí sọ̀rọ̀ ètò owó yá fáwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí àjọ tí ń gbógun ti ìwà jẹgúdújẹrá ICPC bí wọ́n ti ṣe lọ́gùn rẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀. Ẹ̀wẹ̀ àjọ tí ń rí sọ̀rọ̀ ìdánwò àṣewọlé sáwọn ilé ẹ̀kọ́ gíga lórílẹ̀‐èdè wa Nàìjíríà JAMB ni wọ́n ti gbà wípé lóòótọ́ àti lódodo ní àṣìṣe wà o tí ó sì ṣàkóbá fún ìṣọwọ́ ṣe dáadáa sí àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tí wọ́n ṣe ìdánwò UTME. Ẹni tí ń ṣe ọ̀gá àgbà yanyan fún àjọ JAMB ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Ishaq Olóyèdé ló ní lóòótọ́ ni àṣìṣe wà o nígbà tí ó ń bá àwọn oníròyìn sọ̀rọ̀ nílùú Àbújá tó sì ní àjọ ọ̀hún òun ni yóò padà tún ní kí àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tí ọ̀rọ̀ ọ̀hún kàn padà wá tún ìdánwò náà ṣe o ní àwọn ìpínlẹ̀ 5 kan tí ń bẹ lápá ìlà oòrùn gúúsù àti ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó. Níṣẹ́ ni ọ̀rọ̀ di bọ́ọ̀lù ọ̀yá mi lẹ́yìn tí àwọn ìdá márùndínlọ́gọ́rin àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tí wọ́n tó nǹkan mílíọ̀nù kan ó lé 5 tí wọn ò gba àmì tó lé nígba gẹ́gẹ́ bó ṣe jẹ́ wípé àmì 400 gan ni wọ́n ń retí lọ́tọ̀ àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ kí wọ́n gbà ó ní àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tí irúfẹ́ ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣẹlẹ̀ sí ni wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní mọ́ rí àtẹ̀jíṣẹ́ lórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ wọn ò bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti ọ̀la lọ kí wọ́n lè mọ ọjọ́ tí wọ́n padà wá ṣe ìdánwò wọn. ìgbìmọ̀ tí ń rí sọ̀rọ̀ ìwádìí ìjìnlẹ̀ lórí ètò ààbò lórílẹ̀‐èdè wa Nàìjíríà ni wọ́n ti kọ̀ jálẹ̀ o láti gba ààbọ̀ àjọ tí ń rí sọ̀rọ̀ ìgbòkègbodò lórílẹ̀‐èdè Amẹ́ríkà fún bí wọ́n ṣe di ẹ̀bi ru awakọ̀ bàálù tó wa ọkọ̀ bàálù kékeré eléyìí tó gbẹ̀mí ọ̀gá àgbà yanyan ní ilé ìfowópamọ́ Access Abat Wigwe òun àtayá rẹ̀ àti àwọn ọmọ rẹ̀ tó fi máwọn mẹ́ta mi o ẹni tí ń ṣe adarí ẹ̀ka tí ń rí sọ̀rọ̀ ìwádìí ìjìnlẹ̀ lórí ètò ààbò nílẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà ìyẹn Bímbọ́ Ọládèjì nínú àtẹ̀jáde kan ló tẹpẹlẹ mọ́ wípé kò yẹ kí wọ́n di ẹ̀bi ru awakọ̀ bàálù kékeré ọ̀hún fún ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ burúkú náà fún bó tilẹ̀ jẹ́ wípé àwọn tó ṣèwádìí ọ̀hún nílẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà ni wọ́n di ẹ̀bi ru ẹni tó wa ọkọ̀ bàálù kékeré ọ̀hún tó náà jẹ́ pé ẹlẹ́dàá mọ́ ara àwọn tó wà nínú ọkọ̀ bàálù nínú àṣekágbá ààbọ̀ wọn ni wọ́n ti tọ́ka sí awakọ̀ bàálù kékeré ọ̀hún eléyìí tí ó já tó sì gbẹ̀mí Wigwe aya rẹ̀ àtọmọ rẹ̀ tó fi máwọn mẹ́ta míì wípé ńṣe ló tàpá sí òfin ètò ìrìnnà òfurufú ní pàápàá jùlọ ní kété tó mọ̀ wípé ojú ọjọ́ ò da kó tó di pé ó gbé ọkọ̀ bàálù náà fò nígbà tí wọ́n wá ń sọ pé àwọn ò gba ìwádìí náà wọlé àjọ tí ń rí sọ̀rọ̀ ìwádìí ìjìnlẹ̀ lórí ètò ààbò nílẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà ni wọ́n ní àwọn ò gba ìwádìí náà wọlé o nítorí pé wọ́n tún parọ́ mọ́ àwọn wípé níṣe ni àwọn lọ́wọ́ nínú ṣíṣe ìwádìí ọ̀hún eléyìí tí wọ́n ní kò rí bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni wọ́n ní àjọ olùṣèwádìí nílẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà náà ni kò yẹ kí wọ́n di ẹ̀bi ru awakọ̀ ọkọ̀ bàálù ọ̀hún nìkan o ó ní níṣe ló yẹ kí wọ́n tún di ẹ̀bi ru àwọn míì ní pàápàá jùlọ iléeṣẹ́ tó ní ọkọ̀ bàálù náà. àjọ tí ń rí sọ̀rọ̀ ìdánimọ̀ lórílẹ̀‐èdè wa Nàìjíríà ni wọ́n ti tẹpẹlẹ́mọ́ pé bó tilẹ̀ jẹ́ wípé àtúntò ti wà nínú owó tí wọ́n mọ̀ san fún àjọ náà níṣẹ́ ni àjọ tí ń rí sọ̀rọ̀ káàdì ìdánimọ̀ ni yóò sì mọ̀ ṣe ètò ọ̀hún fún àwọn ọmọ orílẹ̀‐èdè wa Nàìjíríà lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́ o ẹni tí ń ṣe adarí àgbà lájọ ọ̀hún Abísóyè Kóka Odùṣọ̀tẹ̀ òun ló fọ̀rọ̀ eléde nígbà tí ń yànnàná ọ̀kan ọ̀jọ̀kan àwọn ìdàgbàsókè tó ti bá àwọn nǹkan amáyédẹrùn àti fífẹjútò sí ìlànà ìṣọwọ́ ṣiṣẹ́ sí lájọ ọ̀hún tó sì ní eléyìí ló fà á tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn owó táwọn ń ná láti fi ṣe àwọn nǹkan kan àbí nǹkan kejì tó fi gbẹnu òkè àmọ́ tó ní mímọ́ wá gba nọ́mbà ìdánimọ̀ tó orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà ní àlékún ní kò ní sí pé wọ́n ń sanwó fún o tí ó sì jẹ́ ọ̀fẹ́ ẹ̀yin tí ń ṣe adarí àgbà lájọ tí ń rí sọ̀rọ̀ káàdì ìdánimọ̀ ló tún kéde rẹ̀ wípé àjọ ọ̀hún ni wọ́n ti ṣe àṣeyọrí o látàrí bó ti jẹ́ pé mílíọ̀nù lọ́nà 164 àwọn ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà ló ti àfọwọ́kọ́lẹ̀ fún gbígba nọ́mbà ìdánimọ̀ orílẹ̀-èdè yìí. iléeṣẹ́ ìjọba bus terminal 3 kọmíṣà ọ̀dọ̀ àwọn ọmọ àjọ tí ń rí sọ̀rọ̀ ètò àyíká kùtù òní ó ní gbogbo àwọn afurasí tí wọ́n náwó gan ọ̀hún ó. iléeṣẹ́ ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ adámimógo ni a ti kéde ìyànsípò àwọn èèyàn kan láti fi lè jẹ́ kí wọ́n tún lọ sípele ibi gíga mi o iléeṣẹ́ adámimógo ni wọ́n kéde Ayọ̀ Adékẹ̀yẹ gẹ́gẹ́ bí adarí ẹ̀ka ètò ìròyìn báyìí tí wọ́n sì kéde Olúyẹmí